Welcome, guys, to Purpose Opinion. Yeah, I've made a few videos recently already, but I think this video is gonna be more interesting for you guys because I want to talk about an interesting phenomenon that's happening around the world that I think most financial news channels are not covering, or any news channel for that matter. So, I mean, there's a lot of talk recently about how AI is gonna take your jobs, unemployment's rising, AI investment is rising. I mean, yeah, that's true. And people are getting unemployed. I know a lot of people who have been working for a long time who have been laid off. And these are smart people. It's not like they're not smart, and it's happening all around the world. So if you think it's unique to your country, that's not true either. But how people are reacting to this event varies vastly around different countries. So if you let's start focus on the Western countries. So you have people get unemployed, they get laid off without reason. And what do they get? In most Western countries, if you live in Canada, USA, and in most countries in Europe, if you get unemployed or if you get laid off without any reason, um, you get government subsidy, EI, employment insurance. It has different name in different Western countries, but it's the same shit. You get money because you're unemployed without your own fault. And that's already happening. So that is a big issue that a lot of Western countries will have to deal with. And this is why I think the bond market hawks, the people who expect the interest rate to keep going up in the bond market, I think they're wrong, especially in Western countries, because you have a situation where all these people are getting unemployed, but they're also getting assistance from the government. And true, they're getting assistance for, okay, so I think I mixed that up. So sorry. So as I was saying, I tend to deviate from my point of view from the topic. So you have AI taking people's jobs, more and more people getting unemployed. We're talking about Western countries, and what do you have? You have people on EI, employment insurance, paychecks, right? Government paychecks, free money, basically. And these people now don't have an incentive to either find a job or to do something on their own, to start a startup, to be entrepreneurial. Right. No entrepreneurship incentive because the government's paying you to do nothing. Okay. And so you'll have interest rates keep rising because debt is increasing of the government because of all this free money. And also because the demand's not going down because these people are still buying stuff because they still have money. In a free economy, the demand would go down, prices would go down, inflation goes down, and then yeah, central bank can lift the interest rates up. But that's in a free economy, in a true capitalistic market. But that's not what exists in most Western countries, in all, I think. So Western countries are behaving extremely differently to this AI and this AI and unemployment situation. But then you go to countries where the government's too poor or doesn't want to give out free money because you're unemployed, right? And that's basically the rest of the world. I mean, yeah, Asia, Middle East, I think. I mean, Middle East is different. They have oil money, and it's a small population too. So I'll remake a video on how Middle East is just becoming the next Switzerland. It's just a banking industry flushing with money, cash. So you have that going on in the Western world. Nothing good is going to come out of this for them. Okay, that's true. And the news channel is right about that. But they don't focus on what's going to happen in countries like China, India, Southeast Asia, Africa. These countries or continents that I mentioned are close to 75% of the world's population. So they matter, obviously. And these countries don't have an EI system, employment insurance, free money if you're unemployed system. So what happens here? People getting unemployed, they have to do something. They can't just sit idle. Most of these people in these countries, they have savings, these poor countries, people, middle income like to save. And So a random guy from this global south or in the eastern country, eastern world, whatever you want to call it, if they get unemployed because of AI, and they'll have to either get another job, which is going to be hard, or they'll have to start something. They'll have to open a company, start a company, you know? They have to be entrepreneurial because they have no other choice, right? So the incentive is different in countries like mine, Bangladesh or India or Pakistan. The incentive here is if you get unemployed, and I'm seeing this, I'm observing this trend. People are starting their own startups. I did my own, right? And I mean, I had this channel for a while, but I started my own AI company as well. The link is in the YouTube about section, right, of the page. It's Quant Tiger AI. So there's a LinkedIn page. You can go and search it up. And so here's the interesting part. Not all these startups are gonna fail. A few of them are gonna survive. And so you have all this creativity, innovation, companies. Look, starting a new company means it's either a new sector or it's an existing sector where you're bringing innovation, creativity to get competitive edge, right? So yeah, I mean, a lot of these startups are gonna be successful, and they're gonna help boost the GDP of those countries. And so that's, I think, why the bet for the emerging markets is a good bet for the next few decades at least. Because the Western countries, the way the system, it's so flawed, even with all this AI and innovation, they're unemployed and then they don't have an incentive to start a company. I mean, you get free money, right? There are very few people who wants to stop getting that free money, start their own company. Because it's tricky. Because if you start your own company in Canada or USA and you're unemployed, all of a sudden you're employed. You no longer get the AI checks, the employment, unemployment money. So it's like the incentive is completely opposite to what's necessary. And so I think you'll see high interest rates in Western countries, currencies for a long time to come. And in the global South, especially countries where they have creativity, they have talent, they have young population who are more likely to be creative. Countries with young age, basically. Like for Bangladesh, the median age is 27, so that's pretty young. So countries with young population, Nigeria is one of them. India is getting a bit old, but they're still there. These countries will have creativity, they'll have successful companies that will go on to create a significant impact in the country's GDP. And yeah, you'll see emerging market stock markets. I mean, Sri Lanka, Pakistan are very good examples. Look at how their stock market recovered from the recession. I mean, Bangladesh is next. I'll talk about that, the Bangladesh stock market in another video. But it's a very good example of what happens when one set of countries just focuses on the citizens' comfort, and other set of countries let the citizens just um you know basically do what you have to do to survive. It's the survival of the fittest. So yeah, I mean, my personal take is, I mean, there are gonna be certain number of people who need a regular income source to feed their families, and they're gonna be poor. They're usually from the lower class, lower and poor class of society, right? So these people can't afford to start a company, wait for a few years before the company turns profit. So yeah, I mean, it is a rich man's and upper middle class game, starting a new company from scratch. So I get that, but at the same time, the incentive in the Western countries are completely, they're not in sync with the economic fundamentals, the basics, basically. So yeah, that's an interesting topic I wanted to talk about, and yeah, that's it for this one.